Hello.
Welcome back again. This is the same day, minus my sister, because she had to go do stuff.
We kicked her out.
Yeah, I actually kicked her off the room because she was just being annoying. And then I found a fun fact. When you kick someone out, you get to report them. I didn't report her. She really didn't do anything wrong. I just felt like being annoying.
I'm just here. Here.
Mira was along for the ride. But welcome back to another episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And today is another one of Marianne's romance novels she's read. I don't know which one it is.
Surprise.
So we're going to find out. I'm hoping for a mafia. She said it's probably 20% mafia, like slightly mafia, but not like full-blown mafia. Is that about right?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm just going to go for it.
Okay.
All right. I've told you about this book before. I read it in the beginning of the year, and I started to reread it again. It's called Flock by Kate Stewart.
Not ringing a bell.
Kate, I'm tagging you. I love you. You're an amazing writer. Thank you for this beautiful story. My heart is in shambles and I don't know how to repair itself again. I don't know what book to read next.
Oh.
I don't know. So this is the book where I told you it's like a reverse Ravenhood with Fast and the Furious vibes per Kate Stewart.
Fast and Furious.
Right?
Particularly Tokyo Drift.
First, before we begin, if you have not read this book, do not watch this. I mean, maybe watch our show later. Please like and subscribe. But like, I'm going into deep spoilers in explaining, Rachel, what this book is about. If you love romance, read this book. Like, this is a beautiful love story. If you like Fast and the Furious, suspense, mystery, stealing from the rich, helping the poor, fast cars, hot guys, you should read.
I like those things.
Book.
I like fast cars.
Yes, it's very explicit.
Muscle.
This is not young adult. This is new
explicit.
adult. This is like HBO. Let's go.
Oh, I'm off the train.
Just letting it. Yeah, you're off the train.
I hate explicit. It just gets in my soul.
I think that's why I didn't recommend it to you. I just told you about it.
Okay. She edits out all the stuff.
I edit out all the stuff. So spoilers, but please give it a chance. I went in blind with this book and it was just a beautiful journey. And when I reread it, I was like, oh, I'll just skim it. I'll just skim it. No, I got sucked in again. My heart, I had an ocean of emotions, I feel like. And I was reading it and my mom was hearing me talk to the book, going like, oh my God, no, I forgot that happened. Oh no. And I'm trying to convince her to read it. And she's like, I don't know. It sounds really intense, but maybe. Anyway, so we start off, she's in present day. Her name's Cecilia. And the first two books are in her point of view. So that's our main character. Please note, she's very young. Oh yeah, plug in. She's very young. She's 18 for most of this book. But anyway, we fast forward to the present where she's like 26 and she's driving back and she's like, I'm sick. I'm in love. I need to go back and get closure. And you're just like, what is this story going to be about? So then you go to present day Cecilia, 18. She is the daughter of a very rich CEO of Horner Technologies. Okay. Basically, her dad like abandoned her, doesn't love her. Oh. The mom wasn't really a mom there, was still falling for the dad. They never married. And she always like looked back like, Mom, why do you love this guy? He abandoned us. Like we were poor and like, he's this rich guy. And he, like it was just not a great childhood. So you feel really sad for her. And she's like, I'm spending the summer with my dad so I can learn about his company and get my inheritance. So then I can help my mom. And she goes to this small town.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
It's good plot.
It's a really good plot. I told my mom about this plot. Like I remember last year in like at lunch and she was like, what? I'm like, yep. And she's like, I'm not going to read it. I'm like, you should. Anyway, so she joins this company. She's like, I want to get my inheritance. I'm going to help my mom. So it's a small town called Triple Falls in North Carolina, I believe. And
I've been there.
So of course, yeah. Of course, she meets this cute guy named Sean, and Sean is like the overly flirty heart of gold guy. Like he has all these philosophical things, but he's kind of a doofus too.
A doofus in a good way or a bad way?
Doofus in a good way. Like he's the one who's like always joking around and you want to like smack, but he has a heart of gold.
Okay, got it.
And he's like openly flirty. He has like a lip ring. I totally forgot.
Oh, lip ring. Oh, that gets caught on stuff. Anyway.
He's blonde, he's gorgeous, and he's like, he meets her and she's cracking jokes. She's really smart, but she's very innocent. Remember, she's 18. Please remember she's 18. And I think a lot of her decisions are very much an 18-year-old trying to be an adult, trying to prove yourself. So he invites her to this party and she meets all these people, and you see she sees a lot of tattoos. She sees these raven tattoos. She's like, why do all these guys have matching tattoos?
It's a gang.
And yeah, and then she like meets, and she gets offered a beer, and she's like, she doesn't really party. And even he asked her, like, do you party? And so she's just trying to meet people, and she's like, something's weird here. Like, she knows that something's up, but she really likes Sean. And then she meets his friend Dominic, who is like, get out of my party. And of course he's like super good looking too, but like total opposite of Sean, like introverted, quiet. They both work at a car shop. They own like a mechanic shop together. So that's the Fast and the Furious vibe. And of course he's like, get out, you're 18. Who are you? Like, get out of here. And I'm always like, what's going to go on here? And there's always this like sexual tension among all three of them. So throughout the book, Sean and this is only the first book. It's a journey, girl. Sean and her start dating. Like, he takes her on hikes. He has such a very, very interesting view on the world. He goes, when you hang out with me, can you not bring your phone? She goes, why? She goes, well, time is now. Time is of the essence. Like, he's like very like kind of hippy dippy, but like being present, but it means well. You know, like, you should spend your time with me and you should be present. And he has all these philosophical things. And then, you know, she has this tension with Dominic as well. She invites them over to her she has this beautiful mansion that she shares with her dad, who's still kind of non-existent. They have dinner every once in a while, but he really doesn't care about her, which is really, really sad. So this is not like the big part of the book, but this is what shocked me the most. So what happens basically is she keeps trying to figure out, like, what are you guys up to? And they're like, oh, you're not ready. Or like, the wolf is going to sniff you out. The Frenchman is going to sniff you out. And she thinks the Frenchman is Dominic because he has a French accent. And she's like, like,
Dominic is French?
On? Dominic is, she finds out he's French. He has like a little bit of an accent.
Okay.
And, you know, she's like, what's going on? You get like pieces. And you're like, what is going on? But what happens is she really falls in love with Sean. And she also falls in love with Dominic in this weird enemy way. And it all culminates in this menage a trois, which I was like, what? And I don't like reading about cheating. I don't like about this stuff. I don't like sharing. I'm very monogamous. But Kate Stewart, man, you are such a good writer. You made me listen to something and read something that I never thought I would be convinced about. Like, really, I was just like, she really goes through Cecilia's thought process of, would I do this? Should I do this? Am I a whore? Like, all that. She goes into that gray, which I love.
Because she hooks up with Dominic while she's still dating Sean.
They hook up all three together on a raft. And you're like, whoa, what is going on? And then they become in this relationship. She is shared by the both of them. And they're okay with it too.
Sometimes separately, sometimes together. It's just whenever.
They were only together once, like all three. And then she had dates with Dominic and she had dates with Sean. So with Sean, she would like go on drives and go on hikes, and they would do like real girly date things. With Dominic, he's kind of, you find out he's like kind of a hacker. He went to MIT. He's very introverted. He likes his coffee black, cars fast, music loud. Like, he's very like,
and his women shared.
And he likes reading books, and they always enjoyed rainy days. Like, they would just read together on his bed and watch movies and be really chill and introverted. So it creates such an interesting dynamic of like how relationships bring out the habits of people and what they're interested in. So you go through that, and I'm like, the whole time, of course, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to end badly. I'm like, this is not good, but I still kept reading. Like, she made me to keep reading and made me understand where Cecilia was coming from, because she didn't have anyone. So she's like, I'll just take what I can get, and they're okay with it. So I should be okay with it. But she does doubt herself along the way.
She should doubt herself.
She should. Oh my God.
That's a bit too, that's my threshold probably. Because the previous episode was about Poldark and how I cheated on his wife, and Marianne dropped off the show because of that. Yeah. And so this would be where I would drop out the book. because that's just way too much for me.
Oh, Kate Stewart. Oh, she is such a good writer. Like, she made me go, oh, that's okay with them. And then you find out more, of course, later on in other books. So anyway, I'm still reading. I'm like, this is going to end so badly. Mm-hmm. And she knows like, we can't do this forever, but she did. She falls in love with 2 guys. And then what happens is something's up, something's going on. And they're still like, can you keep a secret? Like, that's kind of the tagline of the book. Like, can you keep a secret? She goes, yeah, I want in. I want to know what you guys are all doing. Mm-hmm. And she learns like a little bit about it. Like, she watched this lady making tortillas and she sees her steal. I know.
It's so random.
I know. And steal like money from the store that she's making the tortillas at. And she's like, wait, she's stealing, but she's so happy in her job. She sees that the money is for like her grandkid who's like half blind, has some kind of disability, to help that child. And she's like, huh. So she's like, I want in, I want to help, like, you know, an 18-year-old pretending to be an adult. And all of a sudden they like drop her because I think the threat, the guys do. And it's so mean. Like, they play this song Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel about a promiscuous girl. They just play
Cecilia.
it.
Yeah.
And it's so mean. Like, she comes in like, hey guys, and it's just plays a song and they ignore her. And it's so dramatic. Obviously they were trying to make a point to someone. And then they try to reach out to her like, hey, we're going to be gone. Like, just know we're in it for you. And like, we love you. And she's like, what? Like, she's That's so confusing. Heartbroken.
I'm confused.
Yeah. She is confused too. She's like, what is this? What is this Ravenhood society? And in the end, I think what I love of what Kate Stewart does, she does playlists with her books, and she references songs. And you know me, I love my angsty rock music, which is totally what Kate does here. And she plays this song. She's in this mansion. She plays this song really, really loud because it's like her declaration to them of like, I want you back. And she's so desperate, but
she wants them both back.
She wants them both back. She goes, why do they don't? What is going on? And the book ends on a cliffhanger. And a guy approaches her and she's like, you're the Frenchman, you're the wolf. And you're like, what? Wait, so that's the guy behind the strings of everything, of this society, behind Sean and Dominic. She meets him in the end.
And he tells her that she's the wolf, and we don't even know what a wolf is.
No. She tells him, you're the Frenchman, you're the wolf.
Okay.
And she's like, you're the guy that ruined everything, that lost the loves of my life. And I just remember being like, what? Did not expect another guy.
It's not a quad, is there?
Then we get to the second book. This second book, girl, it's rough. I had to shower halfway between the book because I was like, oh my God, it's too much. So we're still in this time period. She's still 18. I know, it's a journey. She's still 18. But isn't it good? Like, it definitely gets your attention.
I'm scared.
I know, but what I love. I
gotta know more though.
You gotta know more. It's like a train
wreck. Must keep reading.
It is a train wreck a few times. So, and also please note, this was supposed to be a duology, but she wrote we'll get to the third book. So she's.
Oh wait, sorry.
Oh yeah.
It was supposed to be just 2 books. Now it's 3 because
it's 3 books.
She had more to say. Okay.
She had more to say, which I love. I love that when you're like, oh, I think it's going to be this. And like, obviously there was so much more to the story than there was. I love how she wrote a third book.
Interesting.
Anyway,
okay, I'm ready now.
So it's the Frenchman. She meets this guy. Of course, he's in a suit. Of course, he's like super
good looking, right?
Super good looking, like more good looking than Sean and Dominic.
Quad.
And she's like in a bikini, and she meets, and she's like, "Who are you? What's going on?" He doesn't tell her her name. He's like, "You need to stay away." And he's like, "I know who you are. Like, you know about our sister." I think she does get to learn more. Like, oh yeah, in the end, she learns more about like why the society was created. And it's called the Ravenhood Society. They're the ravens, the birds. You love birds. Rachel. I know there's a lot of great bird metaphors in this series. Funny. But she finds out that Dominic's parents died in a fire at her father's plant that I forget what they create. It's like a technology company. But and that's what creates this society, because he is left parentless and he's like we're gonna change the world is basically what they want to do. So she knows a lot, and he's like, you can't tell. He doesn't trust her, and he's like, how did you convince my 2 brothers, he calls them, to like hide me from you? And we find out that she's the secret. Like, can you keep a secret? She's a secret. And like, why did they hide you from me? What is up with you? Like, he doesn't trust her, and he's like really
What
mean
makes her
about
special?
it. What makes her special? And he's like, what is this? And so he's like super mean to her, and she's like, I mean, she's got brokenhearted, and then this hot guy is mean to her, and she's like, what the what's going on? What the heffalump? And then of course he leaves abruptly, and she has like about 8 months where she's sulking, she's sad, she misses them. Yeah, it's like Bella Twilight sad, like,
oh man,
yeah, or Pride and Prejudice when Keira Knightley's twirling on the tire
oh
swing.
right,
she tries to go on a date, she can't. And then all of a sudden she sees Sean and Dominic like on the street.
They're still friends. That blows my mind.
It blows my mind too. And he like he takes her aside. He goes, you got to smile for me. And she's like, what's going on?
Run away. I know
that she sees like Dominic, and they're like, and she's like, what? And then like one day, I forget the time frame of this, sorry. And then one day she gets a necklace on her bed, and it's a raven necklace.
But someone got into her house. How'd they get in there?
Yeah, well, she invited them over in the first book, like, come on over, I don't have friends, come in the pool with me.
Okay.
So she gets a necklace with ravens, thinking, oh, someone has claimed me, someone loves me, is that necklace. And she runs, and she just got home from a date that she hated. She's like, I'm trying, but this is so hard. And so she goes into the field, she's like, they must be out here. And then she runs into the Frenchman. And she's like, she's really funny. She's like, are you killing animals tonight? What's going on? Like, she's really smart and witty. She's really witty. She's very passionate, obviously. Obviously. And he's like, what are you doing here? Like, what is going on? Like, they left you. Like, you need to move on. Like, you need to stay away from this. Like, get out of, like, he just wants her out of the business, you know, like, get out of this. This is not your world. And she's like, no, I can prove myself. Like, just so immature, but I gotta respect her spirit. And she's like, no, they love me. Look at this necklace. And he's like, you don't know who it's from. You don't know which one. And he's like, he's like messing. So it's like this cat mouse game. And then she's like, well, you're a lonely person, and you're alone in this world. And then he kisses her. And
hi, Jamie.
I know. There's so much more, Rachel.
He's doing it. Does he like her, or is he just messing with her? Is it both?
I think he definitely likes her, and you'll find out more why. And then she's like, so he kisses her, but then she kisses him back.
Of course she does.
And he's like, talk about loyalty. Like, he's like totally twisting this up. And
she has no one to be loyal to right now, though.
She's broke. She's sad right now. Yeah, she's sad.
Yeah. And I don't like this dude.
I know. So then they leave, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. What's going on? The next day he shows up and he wants to cook her breakfast. And he's like, I want to negotiate. This is a business deal. And she's like, what are you doing in my house? Yeah. What are you doing in my house? What's going on?
How'd you get a key? How do people get keys? I'm sorry. As a house.
She has like a passcode, and I think they figured out the passcode. Because remember, they're a secret society.
He's got to have
they got skills.
Bad passcode. It must just say her name or something. So funny. Cecilia.
So anyway, he's like, we're in negotiations.
Okay.
What information do you have? I have information. Let's exchange. Let's get to an impact. Like, let's bring peace. Because like, what is going on? And
where's the peace issue? Like, why do they need peace?
She knows about his society and how he wants to kill her father. And she's like, no, like, I can tell him, I can rat you all out. And also, I want to get my inheritance so I can help my mom. Like, this is the only reason why I'm here. And she even said, he doesn't even care about me. And she's like, you don't know me. Like, what is this? And he goes, actually, I know you. And he like lists all the things about her. And you're like, oh my God, he's been paying attention.
Doing his research.
Yeah, so that's their negotiation. So he's like, I'm keeping an eye on you because I don't trust you. So he shows up every day, makes her meals, works like his laptop there, and just like annoys her like every day. Because he's like, I don't trust you.
Oh, so bad. As you're saying this, it's okay if I interrupt.
Yeah, please.
So there's two things. So she wants to be initiated into a gang because gangs provide family, except it's twisted because she's not poor seeking elevation. She's rich seeking belonging. And then the next one is
girl
that he's grooming her, which is in the worst way possible, because he's cooking her food. So there's that whole, you can do tons of metaphors with cooking someone a meal, multiple meals.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like a pimp in a way. Can you say that on YouTube? Where they groom the younger individual to manipulate them to get them to do whatever they want them to do.
Yes. And they play chess too.
Oh,
kind of. You almost got it. They play chess a lot. I started playing chess, not gonna lie. I did play chess when I was a kid. One of the reasons, there's a lot of romance books on chess. There are.
That's funny.
Well, the ones I like. The ones I like.
Hilarious.
But I did used to play chess when I was a kid. But anyway, so they play chess, they drink wine, they like all this stuff. And then they have this weird, and then all of a sudden they act on, well, he calls her out because she's still like a mess. Like she's still a hot mess. Yeah.
I can see that.
And he says, you're an addict. And to the high, to belonging, to feeling loved. Like you gave in to Sean and Dominic because they gave you attention, even though you only deserved. Yeah, you deserve better, and you shouldn't be shared, and all this stuff. And then the next day they act on their attraction to one another, and she's so sick of herself, and she's like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And it gets really like crazy. Like he buys her lingerie, and he's like, just give me this just give me this selfish moment.
He's grooming her.
And he goes, I can't promise you anything. And like, he even says that, and he does eventually tell her, like, I am in love with you. And he's like, I didn't expect this, because he did avoid her for 8 months. Remember that. He did avoid her for 8 months. He did not.
Being honest when he says that.
Yeah. He did avoid her for 8 months. He goes, I didn't expect this. This is a mess. But he's like, let me be selfish for a second. And then, of course, she knows, she's like, this is bad, but I can't help it because I'm in love with you. And you're just like, oh no, this is going to end badly. And she knows like Kate says something like the foundations are crumbling. And she even questions him, like, are you a good man that does bad things? Are you a bad man that does good things? And I just love how we explore that, Gray. It's so, and you also realize they're kind of similar. They've been very lonely for a long time.
He was lonely too.
He's lonely too.
Mean and lonely. I wonder why he's lonely. He's mean.
Well, so what she finds out too. Oh, I forgot this. His name's Tobias, by the way.
Sorry.
I forgot his name. I got so into the story. His name's Tobias. He has a French accent. Of course, he's super good looking. He's Dominic's half brother.
Well, there's some drama there. Competition.
There's some drama there. Yeah, half brother. And he was the one who started this whole thing. Like, he's the man behind the strings. He's the
Tobias
one who
is the puppet master.
Tobias is the puppet master. He's the wizard.
Oh,
and
okay.
She doesn't learn the extent of it then, but he is, and she gets the hint that he's the wolf. So they've been lonely for this whole time.
Okay.
And they come together, and he's like making her French toast too.
I like French toast.
I know he does. He has these tender moments too.
I like it given to you by someone who's nice.
I know. It's pretty toxic. I'm not gonna lie, but
toxic.
Don't worry.
Insert Britney Spears song.
I know. Like, there's more.
I can't take much more.
I know. I mean, so of course, like, she realized she's in love with him, and then he loves her. And then, like, the next day, of course, Sean and Dominic show up, and he's like, brother, look at that. And it's the most awkward scene, but so well written. And you're like, I shouldn't be here. This is just too much. And he's like, I didn't know. I wanted you away. I've been thinking about the cause. Like, you guys hid her from me to, like, you weren't focused on our society and the job. We were so close to getting her dad. And, like, that was his reasoning. And then she's just like, oh God, like, she's a mess. Like,
how'd I get here? And then, like, Sean and Dominic are just pissed and mad because, like, it's just crazy. And then, so Cecilia, it's really dramatic. I can't even get into it. So Cecilia, she's like, I got to go to college. So she's 18. She's going to go to University of Georgia. I'm sorry.
I always forget.
I got to go study.
I gotta go study. I gotta go to college. Sorry, that's been in the background too. Like, she was only supposed to be there that summer, or like that year, just 1 year. She's supposed to be
With her
there for
dad?
1 year with her dad.
Okay.
So she can get her inheritance, so she can learn about the company. My
Okay.
bad. Forgot about it. So she's like, I better get out now. I better
Gotta
get
go to
out. I'm gonna
school.
pack. So she packs, she blasts some loud music again because she's angsty like that. She wakes up and she's like, I feel really refreshed. What's in the back? She gets branded with little raven wings on her back.
Without consent?
And I just remember being like, oh no.
How'd they do that so quickly? What kind of pain medication? How does that happen?
I don't know. She got knocked out. And so the next day she goes to the mechanic place because that's their hub, their headquarters. And she starts throwing gasoline. She starts throwing alcohol bottles. And she lights the place up.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. They had it coming.
I mean, I don't think she had like a big one, but she ran. I mean, yeah, I was like, girl, I would do the same because she doesn't know who did it. She's scared. She's lost. She's confused. Oh my God, this poor girl needs therapy or
she's trying to go
vacation.
To college.
She's trying to move on because she's like, this was just supposed to be a stint to help my mom and get my money. And she does get her money when she's with Tobias, and he's there because she asks her dad. She asks him like, why don't you love me? Like, why? I just want your love, not your money. And he totally rejects her. And it's really sad. You're just like, what is going on? He goes, just tell me about your progress in college. Just keep me updated. And she tries to make it like she's trying to be all businesswoman. She goes, tell me like you're sorry. And he doesn't say anything to her.
Wow.
And so Tobias is there for her, like during that time.
He actually does like her. I'm not convinced.
He loves her.
I'm not convinced any of these people are actually in love, though. Actually, I haven't been convinced yet. I don't think they actually love each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of lust. There's a lot of lust
and manipulation. Love is not manipulation.
Oh yeah. So, girl, we're not even halfway there.
Wait, we're in like book 2.5.
We're in book 2. We're in middle of book 2. Okay. So then, same day
as the tattoo
runs
thing.
Back, and she's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go to college. I gotta pack my car. I gotta pack my things. And she sees Dominic with a gun. And of course, now she's really scared. No, she just sees her with a gun. And he's like, no, I would never hurt you. Like, hold on. And she goes, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill me? I'm sorry about the car place. Like, oh my God, she's so scared. She's out of her wits. And he's like, no, I would never do that. So puts the gun down. And he tries to talk to her. He's like, I've never seen my brother look so happy.
Tobias.
And tells her like, you asked me if I've ever loved someone. I did, aka her. You. Yeah. Weird. And it's this really like heartfelt, like, oh my God, this is such a mess. And he even says, what did we do to you? Like, feel so guilt. Yeah. Dominic.
What a dumb question, doofus.
What I know, but I'm glad she explores that. Like, she says those things that we're thinking. Like, what did you do? How did this get so effed up? Like, how did you come on? And I think that's what I love about this book. It's really about being selfish and how it affects, and also selfishness, and also like being not selfish for a cause, and that battle between like what I believe in and what I feel in my heart. And I think that's why I really love this book, because it bounces through all those feelings.
Oh, it's a lot of bouncing.
It's a lot of bouncing. So he's
what a roller coaster.
I know. And then Tobias shows up because they're under attack. Someone is trying to kill her dad, who's not at the house, but she's at the house.
It's not Dominic trying to kill somebody?
No. Tobias and Dominic we're trying to secure the perimeter. I love saying that. Secure the perimeter. They were trying to protect her because they heard there was going to be a hit on her dad's house, and she was going to get hurt by some like Miami mafia people. I don't remember.
They came from from Miami to North Carolina.
Yeah. And trying to, so they're trying to rebel, and they get in a standoff with these people. And it's really scary because Dominic doesn't have his gun, but only Tobias has his gun. And I think they're outnumbered by like 2 or 3, 4 people. And like Cecilia's like, oh my God, like what is going on? She
saves the day.
So what happens is Dominic starts talking to her while they're like going to shoot her or his brother. And I think he like starts walking toward the guy, and he goes, hey, you remember our rainy days? You remember eating popcorn? You remember all those things? Like, hey, like, let's do that later tonight. Like he starts saying goodbye because he's going to sacrifice himself so his brother and her can live, and he dies. And you're just like, what?
Interesting.
And she like holds him and he's like love him, and he goes take care of her, and he tells his brother like we're always brothers, because remember they were not ending on good terms, because he just found out that he was with her and all that stuff. And then of course everyone shows up and there's like this big battle at the not a battle, sorry, but there's like a shootout going on, and Tobias is like, you need to leave this place and never come back. You need to leave and never come back, because he sees her like with Dominic in the dying arms, because he just lost his brother. And so there's another guy, Tyler. He's like the Marine looking guy. I forgot, he doesn't love her,
like Captain America type.
He's like the Marine type guy who's always been like the nice one to her, and he like helps her escape.
She should stick with him. He sounds reliable.
I know, they're really good friends. So helps her escape, and so she drives to Georgia, and she still has like blood on her. She tries to clean herself up, and it ends with her just
police
like vomiting and like leaving. And I'm just like, oh man, I need a shower. How am I going to start
rinse
part
off
2?
This book.
I got to rinse off this book. And my mom's like, what happened? I'm like, Mom, it's just a lot. And we're not even to the good part yet. So then 6 years later,
6 years later,
6 years later, she is having nightmares because PTSD of everything she went through.
Where's Tobias at?
We're talking about Cecilia now.
Oh yes, ma'am.
You'll see. And so we're back to like the beginning of the first book, where she's like, I'm sick in love. I need closure. She never got to say goodbye. She never got closure. She's having all these bad nightmares, and she wakes up like ripping her wedding dress because she's engaged to someone else. And she calls off her engagement, not Tobias. She calls off her engagement because she's like, I can't do this. I can't marry you. I'm not in the right state of mind. I need closure. I need to go back to Triple Falls. So here we go back to Triple Falls. And she's like, I'm going to sell my dad's company because I'm just done. I need closure. I want answers. She also goes to Dominic's grave, which is very sweet. She's like, I never said goodbye to you, because it's been 6 years, because she didn't hear from anyone. She tried to look up things. Remember, they're a secret society. They're really good at hiding things. And she never knew like why there was it. She doesn't know anything about why that happened, what happened. Everyone disappeared.
Even Tobias?
Yes.
Oh.
She does get a call in the end of that part of like from like some groupie girl. And she's like, everyone's okay. Just want to let you know. And that's it.
So why do they disappear though? I'm confused.
They all disappeared because they wanted to keep her safe. She's like, you don't need to be part of this anymore. You almost died. Dominic died. Like, get out. Do not
off the club.
Come back here.
But they branded her.
At the club.
She is in the club.
I know.
So many mixed messages, y'all.
It's very toxic. But at the time, she was like, no, you can, like, everyone shut her down, all the things. So she comes back. She's like, she has like a lawyer friend. She goes, give me all the offers. Like, let's sign this. Like, let's sell. He goes, yeah, it's a good offer. She goes and signs. And she's now like, what's great is she's now like a business person. So she has her own foundation where it's like helping employees, helping poor people, help employees make sure they have their rights. And
the Bill Gates Foundation type of thing.
Kind of, but way better. Way better. With who she married her fiance for, Colin, by the way.
Colin sounds like a nice guy. Why you breaking up with him, girl?
I know, she broke up with him. And so she started that foundation with Colin, and she's like, Colin can have the foundation. I just want to sell this. Like, I don't even know what I want anymore. I need answers, and hopefully I'll find them here. And she signs the thing, but she doesn't sign it because she sees a raven on the symbol of the paperwork. And
she's signing away the company.
Yeah. And she's like, she goes, where's Tobias? Is all she says. And the lawyer's like, who? She goes, where's Tobias? Like, where's your boss? Can you call him? And I want to meet with him. And he's like, okay. And then like takes the phone. Like, he'll be here in 20 minutes. And also when she gets back, she goes back to the mansion. Oh my gosh. She goes back to the mansion, the dad's mansion. Like, where she had all those memories. She smells, Tobias always drank gin. She smells some gin. She sees the chessboard. She's like, oh my God, these memories.
He bought the mansion.
Like, no, she still has the mansion.
Because,
yes, she still has the mansion. Oh, her dad passed away too. Sorry. There's just a lot that happened.
Thank you.
Her dad passed away. So she still has the mansion. She still has his company. She wants to sell it. She sees the Raven. She goes, where's Tobias?
It's like,
luckily,
well,
she looks
signs.
great. She's like a businesswoman now. She's looking great. She's adult. She's older. She's learned.
Did she make it to college?
Yeah, she did make it to college.
Oh, good, and she graduated.
Yeah, she graduated. She's, anyway, she of course meets Tobias, and she's hoping she'll get the closure she needs. Like, when I see you,
you're not, because there's a
no,
book.
you're not. She doesn't. And I don't blame her. Like, I don't blame her for wanting to see him, because I would want some closure, some answers, and I would want to move on too. I really think she went there to move on. I really think so. Like,
I don't know,
or maybe not. So she sees him, and it's like, oh, tension. And he's like, he denies her. He's like, it meant more to you than it did to me. Like, he is like,
of course he would. He's manipulative.
And he's like, no, we can't be together. Like, it wasn't good. Like, Dominic died. Like, or he's just like, get out here. Actually, he's like,
he blames her for everything.
No, he's just like, he just wants her out. Like, let's just finish this transaction. We're done. And
question.
Yeah.
Does she want them to buy the company? Because I would be like, no, you can't buy it. Oh, she does because
she likes their cause. Because he knows he will do good with it. Because he's trying to get all the corporations and CEOs and bad guys.
But even though they're trying to do good, they're just a hot mess, and they're also bad.
That's true, but I mean, it's better than selling it to someone where it could be just the bad, like the actual bad
selling
guy.
It to the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. So she would, and like that's what he's always wanted, like to get revenge for his parents' death and all that stuff, and make it, I guess, a negative to a positive in a weird way. So she rewrites the contract and puts an addendum of like, okay, we're gonna be because she's like, I want a conversation. I just want answers, and he won't give them to her.
Oh, I see.
And so she uses the addendum of like, okay, well, you're going to have an office across from me. You're going to go to meetings. It's just so smart and good. Like, I just want a conversation. Like, I don't even want to get back with you. She doesn't even want to get back with him at this point. She just wants answers.
Yeah.
And
so she's got the upper hand this time.
She's got the upper hand. And there's a phone call, and she goes, it's negotiations. She goes, you don't know your opponent. And she goes, oh, I know you. And then she lists everything about him. And it's just like the first conversation they had when he makes her breakfast of like, I know you. Like, it's just so great to see the tables turn and her like learn from him and learn from just experience and just owning him. Yes.
He had it coming.
Thank you. He had it coming. And it's so funny. She has an Audi. She drives really fast, chases him.
I've been wondering what she drives. I love Audis. Remember that Audi I drove that one time?
Yeah, she gets a little reckless. She goes because he owns half the town now. This town is
of course he owns half.
She goes to the bar. She drinks all the things. She's like, I'm letting loose. Like, I'm letting loose. Like, this is my time to figure out what I want to do next. And eventually it's a whole cat and mouse game where he's just like, they're just totally playing each other, and she'll wear her engagement ring just to make him jealous, even though they're not engaged anymore. Yeah, it's just like really good. And he just goes, no, you need to leave. He always says you need to leave.
Because she's probably shark bait. Is she shark bait of some sort?
Yeah, I think so. And he's just like, we're not, like, we need to go. And then eventually she gets really, really drunk at a bar. He comes in and he helps get home.
Yeah.
And during that time home, she's like, I still love you. Oh. And she goes, even though you betrayed me, you lied to me. What we find out too is he sent Sean and Dominic away to France as punishment for their betrayal to him of hiding her. Mm-hmm. And he never told her that. Like, he just told her, oh, they left. They don't love you. So there's a lot of betrayal. And
they got like, banished.
And she goes, and I hate that I still love you. I thought I could move on. I tried. Like, she just pours her heart, like a drunk, pour her heart.
That sounds so uncomfortable.
It was so bad. It was just, but it was so honest. And he was like, WTF. And so he like tucks her in, gives her Tylenol and water. It's snowing. Oh, no. He's out on the pool. It's winter, I guess, and it's snowing around them. And he's holding a book.
It's only snow in North Carolina.
I guess I know, maybe some parts. He's holding a book that she read, The Thornbirds. I've never read it.
What birds?
it's called The Thornbirds. He's holding a book and he's like, so basically he's ready to have the conversation because like
per the addendums.
Per the addendum. And he's like, and they're in the place where they fell in love. Remember, they're at Roman's, her dad's mansion. They're out in the pool. It's gonna snow. Anyway, setting the scene, and he's like, Cecilia, I've known you for a very long time. I met you when you stole this book, when it was your first thief. And there's a lot of like thief metaphors, which I really love. Like there's a lot of stealing. And he's like, I saw you were 11 and I wanted you out of this world. I wanted to protect you because you were an innocent. My revenge was with your father. So I've known you for a long time. And he's like, I think Dominic knew who you were too. I don't know if Sean did. And he goes into how he started the whole thing. And like, he goes in about how like her dad knew about the hit and told him. And she's like, what? You talked to my dad? And he goes, yeah. And I told him that I loved you at that time and I wanted to protect you. And we've been protecting you ever since. And he tells her, what else are the other things? He just gives her all the answers of like, this is what I thought was going to happen, but then I didn't see you coming. I didn't see you coming. And she's like, well, I love you. And he's like, no, like, this is not good for any, like, I appreciate saying no. He's like, no.
It's the purpose.
Yeah. He's like, no, you need to move on. You need to find a better life. You need to get out of here. Get out of here.
Are you gonna die, Cecilia?
I know. And then of course, when they like look at each other and have like somewhat of a moment, her fiance comes rolling in.
Colin, poor Colin. I like Colin. He seems like the same person.
And he's like, who are you? Are you the guy? Like, why she's not engaged? And then like Tobias beats him up and he's like, I'm never gonna be man enough for her. He beats up Colin. Yeah. And it's so good. And she's like, Colin, you need to go. She's like, Colin, you need to leave.
Oh,
like,
she kicks out Colin. He got beat up.
Yeah. She's like, it just didn't work out. Like, I wish I met you earlier. Like, she's like, I'm sorry I messed up. She's like, she feels guilty for not wanting to love Colin. And poor Colin. So Colin's gone.
His nose is broken.
And then she realized, okay, this is it. This is the end. And she even sees, she's at a restaurant eating alone, and she sees Tobias on a date. Well, she finds out that he has a somewhat girlfriend that she knew back in the day, and she's like, oh, she's so beautiful. She deserves to be the queen to the king, because his last name's King. I forgot, Tobias King. Of course, his name's King. It's really good. And then of course she sees them. She's like, I hope they don't see me. And she's reading her Thornbirds book. And then she makes like a scene, like she spills her wine, her Thornbirds book. It's like hit with a candle. And she's like, oh God, now they definitely see me. And Tobias comes over. He goes, are you okay? And she's like, I'm okay. And she's like, they just look at each other and she's like, darn. Like, and then that night he comes.
To her house.
Drunk. Yeah. And he's like, why did you tell me you love me? Do you want me? Like, why is this? Why is going on? And she's like, go away. And he goes, you need to go away. And they've always fought in a funny way.
Go away. You go away. No, you go away.
Yeah, like this love hate. And then they have sex and you're like, oh no, this is not good.
Train wreck.
And then he doesn't talk to her for a while. He's like, this was a mistake.
Where's Colin?
And then she's like, okay, I gotta go. Like, I need to finish this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? I feel like a loser. Like, he's moved on. I need to move on. And so she goes to her dad's room, kind of like, why didn't you love me? I just wanted your love. Like, you're the root of my like crazy. Like, why did I fall in love with these other people? And she goes and looks in the drawer. She sees a letter like, to Cecilia, I'm so sorry. No. I
should be sorry. What else is it? Is it just sorry? Does he do anything else in the note?
In the letter, it's a letter from her mom to him. Oh. And you find out that her mom, this is ridiculous. Her mom set the fire at the plant that killed Dominic and Tobias's parents. Well, Tobias is actually half brother. That's another story. But she's like, what? And she finds out that Roman has been a good guy after all.
Forgot who Roman is.
It's her dad.
Thank you.
So basically, like, what happened? I mean, history is repeating it. This is like a Greek tragedy. He was trying, because he was trying to build his empire, and he knew he had enemies. He didn't want a wife or kid, so he had a weakness. So he hid them, or didn't like them or love them. And she's like, what? Like, she confronts her mom. She goes, why didn't you tell me? Like, I can't believe you. This is so twisted. And she's just like, this is unbelievable. And like you loved him, but he kind of loved you, but he loved you, but didn't. He couldn't. He wanted to protect you. And oh man, so
but he loved his company more. He could have let everything go.
More. He could have. He totally could have.
So he didn't like them in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a part of him. I think this is what I thought. Like, love, you can love deep, but you can love too deep where it hurts them. You know what I mean? Like I think he was scared for their lives because he was getting a lot of threats. So what he said, the mom said to her was like, one day, like, he came to visit, which was great, but then there was a gun next to you as a baby. And so he got really scared. And she was like, oh. So I think he was so scared for their safety, he had to hate them. But that's like even worse though. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he should, in the end, he should have just let go of his company and focused on the family. But he didn't. He had bigger goals in mind. And I love looking at that struggle and how that ended so crazily. Because you're just like, look, I know you had, he thought he had good intentions, but oh my God, no, you no. So we finally, Tobias and Cecilia meet up for the last time. It's the end of the contract. And she's like, I found this out. And he goes, oh, I know. She goes, what? She goes, we're totally over. You're a coward. History cannot repeat itself. I love you. If you are a coward for not loving me and not giving it, we are not repeating this over again. And she says goodbye. She's like, no. And he's like, well, your dad promised I shouldn't tell you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no. So she leaves.
Good. Girls calling.
So then now we're at the final end of the second book.
I was not at book 3. Okay, here we go.
We're not even at book 3 yet. So she has moved on. Cecilia, I love her. She has moved on. I think it's been 8 months. It's always been 8 months.
I was wondering. I feel like you've been here before.
She's in now a small town in Virginia, and she owns a cafe called Maggie's, which is the main character in the Thornbirds book that she loves. I still need to read. I forget what it's about.
It's a real book, though.
Yeah, it's a real book, and I forgot because there's a lot more to come. So she owns a diner, which I think is really cute. Like, she's trying to move on. She also sold all her money and for this from the company to Tobias. She gave him more money in the end. She goes, just take it. Take it. I don't want anything to do. Like, we're done. Yeah. And she really is like, we're done. She hasn't heard from him in 8 months. She's doing things. She's trying to move on.
She's making lattes.
Has her own house. She's making lattes. She got a cafe. I think it's like a diner. And of course, the diner is very Dominic. There's books. There's like fireplace. You know, it's like cozy. There's reading.
I want to go actually to this.
I know. Diner. It sounds really cute. She has friends, and she's trying to move on.
She's got friends.
There's like a cute Mr. Handsome, like at the diner that's kind of checking her out. So she's like, maybe I'll entertain that. And then the news comes on. And
it's always with the news.
She sees the president. And then she sees Tyler. Remember the Marine guy?
Yes, Captain America.
Captain America is the head of Secret Service for the president.
Dun, dun, dun.
And she's like, oh my God, they've reached new heights for what they're doing for their cause, which I do love their cause. I wish it was real. Is
it real? There's conspiracies about stuff like that.
I wish it was. If I see a Raven tattoo, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, are you? Are you? Anyway,
are you Ravenhood?
But I love how we see and she's like at a loss for words. She goes, wow, we've reached another level. Like this is really taking off. And she's really proud. Like, she's proud she knows about it. You know, like, even though she's like, what a mess, but like, she's proud that that's like going. And then, I forgot. Before this, she does say goodbye to Sean, the first guy. She has a really nice moment, and he's like, hey, this Camaro is yours. Dominic had a Camaro.
I wanted a Camaro once.
I know. And he's like, Dominic would want you to have it. So he gives her the Camaro, which is really great.
Is it a vintage model?
Yeah, vintage model Camaro.
Oh,
I know, that's so sweet. And I was like, oh, this is a good moment. And they have a really good, I mean, it's awkward at first, but they're like, you know what, like, you were my friend first, and hopefully we can find peace. You know, like, it's a very sweet moment for them. Because he's married, actually. He is married and has kids. He grew up. He grew up, and it's really great because I really like Sean. He's just fun. He's just like that fun, like, you know him, like that fun, nice guy, who's a little goofy, a little too much.
Well, quick question: is it SEAN Sean or SHAWN?
SEAN.
Okay, scene.
And he doesn't have the lip ring anymore. He doesn't have the lip ring anymore.
Oh, praises.
And he owns the mechanic shop.
Oh wait, okay.
So he's moved on, which is really great.
He's an adult now.
Yeah, and his son is named Dominic.
Oh, goodness.
Goodness gracious. Anyway, back to Cecilia. So she goes back to drive to, like, okay, I need to get home. Like, I need to recover. Like, that was crazy seeing Tyler, like a ghost from the past. She goes to her Camaro, turns on the car. It's the song she blasted when Dominic and Sean broke up with her. The song is blasting.
It's a song
on the radio, and she's like, what is going on? She goes, who would have another key to this car? Of course.
Oh, it's not blasting on the radio. It's on,
it's blasting, like, it's like a Bluetooth. And then she sees Tobias with groceries.
Oh, F.
Don't worry. Like, oh gosh. And she's
not
like,
more cooking.
No. I know, because he would buy groceries and cook for her.
Not more cooking.
And he's like, and you're just like, what is going on?
No
and she's
more.
Like, get away. What are you doing? And he tells her everything. He's like,
what's there to tell now?
He said, like, remember that first night she went back to the mansion and she smelled gin and, like, the guy's name. He was like, I was there. And she tells him, like, she was like, hey, like, I went to Paris and all these places because he's French. He's born in France. He was like, I was there. I had people following you to make sure you were safe. Like, he was like, he just says, like, I've been with you every step of the way.
I don't like that.
I know, but he says it in a really convincing way.
He's a stalker.
He's a stalker. I know, he's a stalker. And see, we're not even at the third book yet.
Oh no, Marianne. I don't think take much more, Mama.
No, it's the third book's easy to summarize. But he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm on vacation now and I want to focus on you. I'm sorry it took me so long to get here. I've been miserable. It was awful. Yeah, because he's the head of an organization. And he's just, like, pouring his heart and soul to her, and she's just
no. And he's completely sober.
And he's like, and she goes, because they keep saying we don't deserve a happy ending, we deserve an ending. And, like, I hope you're willing to explore that with me. I'm in a better place now. And she's just like, what? And she's kind of like, it ends with, like, a maybe in a way.
Of course she'd say maybe. Just can't say no to love.
Yeah. And she's like, what is this? Because they've always been feisty. It's always been this cat mouse dynamic, this power move, your move, like, thing. And it's a maybe more to a yes, let's be honest. But he does bear his heart and soul to her. And he's like, I thought you wouldn't want to be with me anymore because of what we put you through, which is so true. Of course. Yeah. He's like, you don't want to be with me. I manipulated you. I betrayed you. I've lied to you. He says, I'm a liar. I'm a villain. He is a villain.
He is a villain.
And doing good things. But yeah, he is a villain, essentially. Like, he's not a good guy. And she's like, let's just go home. Or, like, he says, let's just go home. So they go in the Camaro and it's like a rainstorm. And he goes, oh my God, we're cursed. And she goes, no, it's a blessing. Because remember, Dominic always liked rainy days. So you're like,
I'm thinking Pride and Prejudice. I mean, Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre. So then you're like, okay, that's the ending. Like, that's all right. So I'm like, okay, I'll read this third book, which came out earlier this year. But I read them all in a row. And I'm just like, oh man, what is this going to be about? Like, what is this going to, and it's called The Finish Line. And the reason for that finish line is, so the first book's Flock, the second book's Exodus, which can mean lots of things. And also is the name of Dominic's company. Okay. I mean, not Dominic, Tobias's company. And then the last part's The Finish Line. And then when Tobias and Celia were dating on one of their dates at her dad's house.
In the third book.
I'm going back to why it's called The Finish Line. It's called The Finish Line because he said, like, you know why I kept running into you that day and I saw where you lived? Like, I used to go to this clearing where all these fireflies came, and this used to be my place before your dad moved in and like
excuse me,
built your mansion. And this is where I thought of this is where I thought of the Ravenhood and the society after my parents died. And this is where I lived. And it's like, I want to show you where it is. This is where I dream. I see these fireflies. It's supposed to be romantic and meaningful. And he goes, my finish line is a place in France. That's where I hope to hopefully be done with everything. I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. And he always asks her, like, what are your dreams? What do you do? You can do so much more. Like, please, like, even though he's manipulative, like as ever, like he did encourage, like, get out, don't be part of my society. Like, go, like, he did encourage her to live her life and dream big. He was like, you don't belong here. Because remember, he always wanted to protect her. Like, you're innocent. Like, you like got excited for stealing a library book when you were 11. Like, you don't need to be part of a society. So anyway, that's why it's called The Finish Line. So it's like, do we get to the finish line? So this book is in Tobias's perspective with some Cecilia, but mostly Tobias. And you get to know him more because I thought he was really, I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Like, he was really manipulative. Like, this is toxic. But then you get to know why he is the way he is. And it's so good. Like, the third book's my favorite. And
interesting.
It's my favorite. And that's not usually the case. And it's so good. So and what I love is Cecilia does not make it easy for him, Rachel. Oh, he grovels, and I love reading about groveling.
He better grovel.
She doesn't even touch him or kiss him, or doesn't try to do any of that. She still has PTSD. She's like, why are you here? I never pictured you here in my house. Like, what are you doing? I'm going to work. And he goes, oh, I'll come with. And she's like, no. Like,
don't come to my cafe, punk.
And of course, she has like a French bulldog. So she has these two Frenchmen. It's super cute. French bulldog named Beau. And she's still like coping. And she does not make it easy for him. And I love that she does not make it easy for him. And he's groveling and he's trying so hard. And he fails so many times. And you get to see a more human side of him. And you find out, like, he's been so manipulative in his work of creating this, like,
he doesn't know how to be normal.
He doesn't know how to be normal. And he has hints of OCD. Like, he does things 3 times, like closes the lock 3 times, taps 3 times, shakes 3 times. So he has kind of like OCD tendencies. And he's always been focused. Like, he went to Paris to study at an academy, and he like didn't make friends. He just wanted to be like, I just want to know what to do in business. And that's where he meets the future president. And that's how he has this in with the future president too. So that's how Tyler became the head of his bodyguard team, Secret Service. There he is. And you just learn all these bits and pieces and how he grew up dirt poor.
He doesn't act dirt poor.
Yeah, he doesn't act dirt poor. Yeah, he has nice suits now, but he grew up like dirt poor because when his parents died, they were with their aunt Delphine, who was really helped spark the movement as well of what they were doing. Because before, I think there were already like labor issues, and she works at the plant too, because the plant is supported by the town, or the town supports the plant. Anyway, and she became an alcoholic, which is really, really sad. She was in an abusive relationship. So you see all these different relationships and abuse in different ways. And so they grew up dirt poor. He raised Dominic, basically. Like, he was kind of the father raising Dominic. So you learn all these that you did not expect. Like,
he has a soul.
He has a soul, and it's so good because it's like the past, and she weaves it so beautifully. Because he's like, I think back. He's really reflecting on how did this all begin. And Cecilia's like, oh my God, what's going on? But it's really funny. I like how alpha he is, because like in the beginning, he sees Mr. Handsome checking out Cecilia. Like, he does go to the cafe because he wants to check it out. And Mr. Handsome is like, isn't she beautiful? He goes, yeah, she's mine, basically. And he goes, oh, sorry, I didn't see she had a ring. And he goes, well, give me your email. I'll send you a save the date. He's like, right.
That's pretty funny.
Feisty. He's really jealous. I think the one critique is like, everyone talks about how obsessed with Cecilia they are and how she's so beautiful. But I think that's supposed to bring out the jealousy that he has of her a lot. But it is kind of annoying. Like, she's so gorgeous. It's like, okay, we get it. She's great. Like, she's great. She's the lead character of this book. So he's it's so funny. So he kind of gets domesticated too. Like he starts like carbs and candy because he's never had a vacation. He's always been focused on
Obsessed.
the mission. He's been obsessed. You never knew. Like he really just, that's all he did. And that's what he was doing in France while Dominic and Sean were trying to build the business there, or the society there. And how he learned about it, he joined some other like weird mafia society guy named Antoine in France. I don't know, something weird. And he joined him so he could learn more and start to like, he's really smart. And I think that's why I like him. I'm like, oh, I love how strategic you are. You're thinking like long term. I think that's a really attractive quality in a man. I really think so. Cause he was like, I'm going to join this crew so I can learn about how to run my society. And he's like, I did some trial and error of what worked, what type of person I want to hire that can be trusted. Like he really thought this through. And Antoine, though, seems to still have something on him. So he's fearing Antoine still. But we go back in the past and learn how he got to know Antoine, who's a total a-hole, but he had to learn somewhere. Like he started from nothing. So throughout the book, he's still like trying to get with Cecilia, trying to find a way to get away from Antoine, because there's like a hint that he knows where he is, and he doesn't want him to find out Cecilia, especially he's trying to repair his relationship with Cecilia.
He got a lot going on.
I know, he's got a lot going on, and it's so funny. It results in some hilarious things. Like he tried to do a date night with her, but he drank way too much gin and got super drunk, burnt the food, and like ruined everything and passed out. He goes, "This is not how I planned it to go."
He needs to get some stuff taken care of.
Yeah, and he goes on runs, and he always complains that she's in her flannel pajamas, which he hates. And it's just really funny. You get these like really domestic moments with them, and she's still like saying no. And at a part of the book, like her mom comes to visit, and remember, his mom accidentally killed his parents.
And he knows this.
And he knows, and but he mans up. He goes, "It's okay. Like we're gonna be like, we have to move on." Like, and he loves her, Cecilia, clearly.
Yeah, he's committed.
He's committed. And I'm telling you, this goes on for a while, but I love it because you learn more about him. But she still is like, you need to tell me more. What is in your mind? Tell me what's going on. So after that bad drunk date, he does give her journal entries of like, this is what I'm thinking. So you get the insight of my mind. Cause she keeps finding out more secrets in like these weird ways. He goes, "Well, it never brought up. Like, I've been trying to talk to you, but you keep shutting me down." So
I wonder why.
I wonder why though. I mean, I don't blame her, but he's like, "What? I know there are some secrets, but I can't tell you ever." Like, it's this like push and pull, which I really love. And you're just like, where is this going to go? Where's this going to go?
Of course they end up together.
Yeah, and then in the end they do end up, and they find a good place. Like they have like a fun snow day, because remember he was always working. He never had a girlfriend too. He's never had a girlfriend. He had like flings, but he was like, "You're my first like person that I've ever like done this with. I've never like played in the snow."
Example of how to do it.
Yeah, right. Like he like starts to really build up, and they even celebrate other holidays. He called it Halloweeny, like, "Oh, I'll do Halloweeny with you," because he has a French accent.
Yeah.
She goes, "It's Halloween," and they like bob for apples and like do all this cute stuff.
Trying
and like
to be Martha Stewart.
Make a jack-o'-lantern. It's just like really cute. She does put in those moments of romance sprinkled in near the end, of course. And so they reach a good place, but of course Tobias has his moments of like, "I need to leave. I don't know what's going out there." He's worried about Antoine. And she goes, "No, if you leave, we're done. We're done. And she's like, and they get into this crazy fight, and he's like, "Okay, I won't leave." Like, he's like, "I won't leave." She's like,
"We're to let go. He's an addict."
We're supposed to decide together. Like, she's like, "No, we're done if you leave." So then he has a plan B. He goes, "We're going to go see the president." And she's like, "What?"
Of Los Estados Unidos.
It's like, "What are we doing?" So she goes and meets the president, and he's like they talk about what they're gonna do, and his plan is, now that he has an in with the president, that now they can do things. They can do a lot more than they can before and get away with it. Like,
so he's still involved. I thought he was.
He's still involved. He's in vacation mode now because he's focused on Cecilia.
Oh, okay.
But he can't stop thinking about the next move, the next step, like the next future. And so he's like, "Cecilia, like, we're going in, we're gonna be more legit, basically, and we're gonna get away, and like we're gonna try and do it within his presidential term. They assume he's going to be reelected, which I love. They're like, we have 7 years and we're going to get all the bad guys as much as we can. And then it'll be the end. And that's my plan. Are you with me? And she's like, what? Like, I did not see this coming. I didn't see this coming.
We were just making jack-o'-lanterns yesterday.
We were just making jack-o'-lanterns. We just like got together. And he's like, yep, this is it. This is the plan. But of course, in the back of the mind, he's really worried about Antoine because like he saw one of his guys come in, like, what are you doing following us? All this stuff. And then I think what happens next? So then we're almost at the end. It's like, I'm going to go visit Cecilia. I'm really, really worried. Like he's really paranoid. He doesn't find her at the cafe. Where is she? Where did she go? He goes back to the house. Did she get
snatched or did she?
Yep. She gets snatched by Antoine and all the peeps. And he's like, oh my God. And of course, I love Cecilia. She has a Beretta. She has a gun. So she did shoot someone. She learned combat skills.
That's good. With these crazy folks, it would be helpful.
Crazy folks. And he's like, oh God, what do we do? They have a standoff. Like, so what we find out too, another twist, Mr. Handsome was some nephew of some guy, I forget his name, that remember I told you that she had her own foundation where she was kind of getting rid of criminals legally in a way with Colin and all that stuff and trying to do her own thing, which I think is really great. Like she's like, I want to help where I can in my expertise. And one of the guys was like the nephew of one of the guys she got rid of all his money. So he was trying to seek revenge. And he's like, Mr. Handsome, what are you doing here? And so he's like some crazy guy who's like, I didn't get my inheritance. So I got Antoine over here and I put the dots together and we're here to get you guys and kill you, blah, blah, blah.
Man.
And then all of a sudden, when he's like so worried, he sees like all the lasers on Antoine and sees all the shots. And he's like, Cecilia, tries to cover her. And he's like, wait, there's like no gunshots. I forget. And he's like, what is going on? And what he finds out is that she manipulated this whole thing for him to show what she's capable of.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Me either. So what she did, right?
She needs to go read a book, do something else.
What she did was she was trying to test him with his secrets. Like he never told her about the guy following her and Antoine. He never told her about Antoine and all those things. And he was like, I'm trying to build trust with you. And you never told me about these things, but I found out through Sean. And I was like, well, I'm going to fix this problem for it. She basically fixes the Antoine problem for him. And he's like speechless. He's like, what? She goes, I knew who Mr. Handsome was. I put that on there. So you knew, and you thought I would. And if you look back, she did put all the pieces together. So while she's working at that cafe, she was scheming and trying to get rid of this problem for him. I know.
So she became him, though.
But she did become him for a good cause. Antoine's not a good guy.
Yeah, but
she does kind of become him.
She becomes Tobias and her dad.
In this crazy way. So, yeah. So he's like speechless. He says, well, I'm not in charge anymore. He's like, I give up. So basically now that they have government backing, because they have all the lasers, they can take Antoine away and he's gone. And he's just like, oh my God, well, he's just like speechless. And I'm speechless too. And Sean and Tyler are there. The whole gang's back together. And Tyler. Sean and Tyler are like, you guys need to go on a vacation.
A real vacation. That was a fake
They go back to Dripple Falls for a vacation. He goes, you let me know if you want to come back. Like, back to work. And she's like, I'm in, like, I'm all in, I'm all for this cause. Like, I grew up poor too, you grew up poor. And basically they all go back in, and then they're at the finish line in the small town in France, and they're back together. And there's all these metaphors about doves, how ravens become doves, because it's all these other stories. But yeah, that's the ending.
Interesting. What a roller coaster.
And then they get married and they're like, can I have a kid? She's like, yes, of course. And like, that's but the very last part, the very last part is it ends in Sean's perspective. And he's still in the society. He gets a phone call and he's like, oh, I got to go. And she's like, no, don't go. And he loves his wife, of course. And he goes, I got to go. And he tries to sneak out. Then his kid catches him. His son, Dominic, catches him.
How old is Dominic?
I think this Dominic, he's probably like 14.
Okay.
Like a young teenager. And he's like, Dad, what are you doing? I know you're not just a mechanic. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, And he takes him in his Nova. He drives a Nova and they drive around. He goes, do you just drive around in circles, Dad, all night? And then he ends with this. He goes, can you keep a secret? And that's the end.
Uh-oh, that's how we all got here. Dun, dun, dun.
So that's the book. What do you think? And sorry, it's so long. It's a long story, but it's so good.
I feel like I'm crashing, which is probably the point, right?
Yeah, she does become him. That is true. I never thought of that way, but reformed.
Do you like the characters? Do you like Tobias? Do you like Cecilia?
So I don't know. I don't think I like them as characters. I think I like how we explore how life gets messy.
That's more than messy, Marianne.
That is very messy. I think I have to read it dramatically, to really get it.
It is dramatic.
It's very dramatic. It's very messy. No, I think for me as a romantic, the power of love. I like that.
Do they love each other though? For real? Do you think that's love?
I think they do love each other. I think they started off wrong. It started all wrong. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Tobias truly, he never wanted to meet her. He never wanted her to be part of this, but she did. And this is what happened. And here we are. So
it's definitely an exciting journey. But the whole time I'm thinking, man, my life is simple and I like it that way. Man, my life is so simple, but I like it that way. But then at the same time, I want to say most people have this secret desire to want to fight crime and be superheroes, because if I, couldn't really get injured, I would totally wear leather, have a personal trainer, ride a motorcycle, and fight crime. I would totally do that.
Have a chef too.
Oh yeah.
I would too.
Yeah, if you do all these things, you need someone to take care of you and feed you while you're out fighting crime. It just sounds really fun. And so, yeah, interesting. Do I like it? I like the retelling of it. Would I read it? No, never. No offense, Miss Kate. You have got a great little plot going on right here, because I was with it.
You were into it, girl. I think too, Kate's one of those rare authors. Like, I read so many books where the writing sucks, the plot's good, the writing's great, the plot's awful or overdone, and she hits it with the plot and her writing. Like, she really made me read something I never thought I would read. Like, I was like, wow, this is really, I kind of like feel bad for them. And I'm like, no, but they're bad.
It's like Spike and Buffy.
It is like Spike and Buffy.
Or George and Poldark, wink, wink.
George and Poldark. Yeah, exactly. And she writes and it feels so realistic. That's what I love about her writing. It feels real. It feels like, these people. Like, one of her books, like, she does a book about a 911 operator and a police officer that fall in love, which I love. She does some really good plots. And she even, she came out with a Christmas book this year, The Plight Before Christmas. And it's so good. I recommend. And Sean makes an appearance. And I just started like beaming. I was like, yes, he's good. He basically makes the guy jealous by, like, he picks up the car from the girl, and he's a side character. He goes, hey, come lean into me, and then I'm going to whisper something in your ear, and I want you to smile, because I know that he's watching. And he makes the guy instantly jealous because he knows that he likes her.
Because you are so manipulative.
I know. I loved how she took a cameo of him, because some cameos in some romance worlds are kind of cheesy to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, they had a baby, great, like, who cares? I love how she took him and advanced the story of her book by being himself. I love that, Kate. I love that. And this book, I don't know what I'm going to read next. I guess I'll read Outlander, because I don't know what I'm going to read, because I'm still like an ocean of emotion of like, that was so cool and crazy and wild, but I really enjoyed it.
Some post-book therapy.
I need some post-book therapy, because it's just such a great exploration of being selfish, because and the consequences of being selfish. And I feel like whenever I hurt someone, it's because I was selfish. I think I think that's really hard for us to admit as people. Like, when I make a mistake, I'm like, no, but that wasn't me, and I give myself an excuse. Actually, it was me being selfish, and it's so hard to say that. And I love how she explored that. But made it love. Made it about love.
Interesting.
So
thanks for sharing.
Thanks. Sorry it was so long,
It's
but
all good.
thanks for sticking with it, people.
Yeah, man.
If you didn't,
I might make it 2 videos actually. I think about that. Find a good spot to split it. Cool beans. Well,
cool beans.
Thanks for sharing, Marianne.
Read the book, everyone.
And can you restate the title? Because I forgot the title. I'm so sorry.
By Kate Stewart. It's the Ravenhood. I want to say it right. It's the Ravenhood series. Read it. It's great.
Part 1.
Or you can just like rewatch our video and think about it.
Are there. Thanks for watching, everyone. For Marianne, who read the first book again to prep for the show.
So I thought I was going to skim it. I read all 3 again. And
all 3. Kudos for dedication. Committed. That's the word of the day. Committed.
Committed. I was committed. It was so good. I think I'll read this every year. It's just so unique. So good.
Every new year. Countdown. Time to read the Raven books. Well, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you all on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. I'm sorry. That one was so long.